Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Lighthouse sessions. Today, I'm excited to have my new friend Patrick Seaton with me, and I want to shout out to Daniel Hammond for bringing us together. Patrick, why don't you tell my audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then you indicated you had a story you want to share, and I want to hear that.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here. So Patrick Seaton, I've been a solopreneur for 20 years, and part of my business is in change and facilitation and helping companies go through change and transition. The other part is helping other solopreneurs and micro businesses with sales, because most of us hate sales and it's not our subject matter expertise. We're experts in something, and we wish we could just jump over the sales part and get to the fun stuff. Part of that's because we've never been taught. We don't want to be taught. We don't have the training. And so we're just winging it, really, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. So after a client work here in Mexico for 9 years, I have taken all that knowledge and turned it into a tool that right now is dedicated towards the solopreneurs who don't like selling but have to. And so, yes, I won't be looking, because I actually wrote the story and I don't want to miss any of it. So I'm going to read the story like story time. Hello, story time with Jeff and Patrick.
Love it.
So, and hopefully this resonates with all the people. So imagine Marcus, one of those visionary entrepreneurs that work with Jeff. Brilliant at what he does. Three ideas going at once. Can see the future clearly, but sales? Here's what the reality actually looks like. Marcus is up late at night before an important presentation, obsessing. Is this going to land? Will they get it? He has no one to reality check whether his pitch is brain friendly or if it's going to trigger buyer resistance. He sends what he thinks is a great proposal. Then, nothing. The prospect ghosts him. He has zero idea why. Was it the price? Did he miss a red flag in the conversation? He's stuck in his own echo chamber. No way to see what he can't see. When he does get on calls, he doesn't know if he's asking the right questions. So he defaults to talking about his solution way too early because he doesn't know what else to do. He's skipping critical steps in the buying process without even realizing it. Prospects say, sounds interesting. Let me think about it, and vanish. He knows his biases are sabotaging him. He's too optimistic about deals. He assumes prospects understand things they don't, but he can't catch himself in the moment. And here's what Marcus doesn't see. His prospects are experiencing him as scattered and unprepared. They're sitting in meetings thinking, does he even understand my problem? Why is he already pitching a solution? They feel talked at, not listened to. They leave conversations confused about next steps, unclear if Marcus is the right fit or uncertain whether they can trust him to deliver. So they ghost. Not because they're bad people, but because Marcus never built the foundation of trust that makes them feel safe moving forward. Marcus knows he's leaving money on the table. He knows he needs help. But hiring an expensive sales coach? Not realistic. Another generic training program? He tried that. It doesn't translate to his specific conversations. Then Marcus discovers Ask Alex. Before presentations, Ask Alex asks, is this brain friendly? What am I missing? No, Marcus asks that. Is this brain friendly? What am I missing? It shows him he's leading with features when he should lead with his understanding of their problem. During deals, it alerts him to weak spots and red flags he's missing. After calls that go sideways, he gets specific feedback. Well, you spent 8 minutes in pitch mode. Did you explore their actual problem? Did you build trust first? With Ask Alex, his prospects experience something completely different. They feel heard because Marcus is asking brain-friendly questions that help them clarify their own thinking. They feel understood because he's exploring their problem before jumping to solutions. They feel confident because Marcus is organized, prepared, and guiding them through a clear process. Instead of confusion, they experience clarity. Instead of pressure, they feel partnership. When someone ghosts him, he can ask, "What did I miss? Where did this go off track?" And he gets real answers based on sales neuroscience, not generic advice. 6 months later, he's closing deals more consistently because he finally has the sales thought partner who helps him see his blind spots, available whenever he needs it, tailored to his company and his thinking style, and always keeping him focused on the buyer's journey and problems, not his solutions. That's what Ask Alex does, Jeff. It's a sales help and reinforcement for visionary entrepreneurs and one that they likely need, that have no interest in providing, that you don't. I do, as an AI thought partner, because I've had 15 years in the sales neuroscience. And most visionary entrepreneurs, they don't have a revenue problem because they're not good at what they do. They have a revenue problem because they've never been trained on sales, quite frankly, have no interest in becoming a sales expert, and they know it. And Ask Alex fixes that.
I love it. And I can't wait to meet Alex. For the record, I love AI models. So I'm going to unpack that a little bit, if I may, and we're going to talk
Absolutely.
about that. First and foremost, I want to point out something that you and I probably understand very deeply, but most of my audience is going to struggle with. You talked about brain-friendly questions. Now, I happen to be a weirdo who loves neuroscience, and I understand that. Let's talk about that for a minute, because I think a lot of it, literally, I was just interviewing another expert, and he was talking up here, and I said, you do realize that your audience is down here in terms of understanding.
Yep.
So what does brain-friendly questions sound like, and more importantly, I think, feel like to you? Okay,
so brain-friendly is to understand how the brain is, how it operates. There are 3 layers to the human brain, and all communication starts at the base layer, which is it's been called the reptilian brain, the crocodile brain, the lizard brain. I call it the croc brain. Okay. And that is the part of the brain that has 3 functions, really. It will listen to what is coming in, and it will decide to pass it through. It will try and simplify the message, or it will block the information, because its job as the gatekeeper is to say, are you a threat, or are you a friend or a foe? Are you trying to take my money? Are you trying to, this is the brain that literally the dinosaurs had. And the little dinosaur would say, hey, are you going to eat me, big dinosaur? Or not? Should I run or should I stay?
Yeah.
So then it goes to the limbic brain, which is where the emotions come in. And finally, it goes to the neocortex, which is at the top. And we cannot just start at the neocortex. We cannot start at the limbic. We have to start with the crocodile brain. And so, in order to get that brain interested and engaged, we have to show that we are there to help them, to problem solve for them, and we are going to help them thrive and survive. And so, the work that I did for the 9 years with the client was all about sales process that was brain friendly. And I wrote a book on it. And the name of the book is A Crocodile Brain Can Make or Break Your Sale. Because if you cannot win over the croc brain, you aren't going to get anywhere else. Your features and functionalities and how wonderful you are, they don't mean jack diddly. Honestly. So we have to start there. And that's what brain friendly means. You have to ask questions that are not too complicated. They're not too aggressive. They're not assuming too much. They're not too jargony, too salesy, because all of that triggers the croc brain in the negative way. That answer the question?
It does. And, it's funny. I'm going to acknowledge, Patrick, that one of my great challenges is that I am well read and well rehearsed and well learned. And I tend to speak to the rational brain. And, it was Tony Robbins that first clued me into this, that he called it, I want to say, a learning coma. But basically, when we speak to somebody's rational brain, everything shuts down and their brain is just focused on learning. It's very passive. And the aha moment for me was that the logical brain, despite what we think, doesn't actually ever make a decision. It's always think it over, which to me is, if somebody's got to think it over, I went too high. Is that a fair comment?
It is. It is. The brain science actually says or shows us that up to 90% of all of our decisions, personal and professional, the 90% of our decisions are made between the croc brain and the limbic brain. The neocortex is only there to justify the decision. It is not there to make the decision. We buy off of emotions. I mean, think about, you go to buy a house. You have a budget. That's the logical part. I know what my limit is. The family knows. And they see a house, and it's the perfect house. Look at the floor plan. Oh, the backyard is fenced in. The kids can run. The mom can see the kids from the kitchen. The park is across the street. School is two streets down, 2 corners down. Oh my gosh, this is it. They fall in love with the house. Yeah. Look at the closets. Look at the garage. Look at this. Look at this. Everything tick, check, 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 check. And then they see the price, $8,000 more than they wanted to spend. They justify the extra amount because they fell in love with the house. Same with someone, if it's a woman who's going to buy a dress for an event. It's not, oh, the dress was perfect, but now look at the shoes, look at the purse, look at the necklace, look at the earrings, look at the, and they go, oh my gosh, that's more than I wanted to spend. But you know what? This is the absolute perfect thing. Emotionally, I already have decided. I might not eat for 2 days, but I'm going to buy this outfit.
I'm going to throw something at you. I want to hear your take. A friend of mine, actually, she works with female entrepreneurs, and she said, Jeff, I'm going to point out that you're wrong about something, because I said that we buy on emotion and justify on logic. And she actually said to me that, in my experience, women do that, but men don't. And I laughed at her. And so I want to hear your thoughts, because I said men just use different logic to justify it, but we're still that same lizard brain going, yeah, I need this. I want it now.
Well, I would back it up one step. It's not because we're buying off of emotion so much. We are, but we buy because something is going to solve a problem for us. That dress, the woman buys it because it's solving the problem. I need something that's really kick-ass for my event. This house is solving a problem for us. My car is falling apart. I need to solve the problem. Once we know that something can solve the problem, the limbic brain gets really happy, starts kicking out the chemicals, and that's the emotional sides. But it's the two of them. If we aren't solving a problem, then I'm not going to get excited about it. Now, the only thing is, emotionally, let's say you are a total Apple person, just to use an example. They already know. They don't need, the new Apple iPhone is not going to solve their problem because they already have a good one.
Yeah.
But they already know that they want the experience.
Yeah.
So they're going to buy off of, I'm so happy that there's a new iPhone. Not because it's going to solve me my problem.
Yeah.
Not at all. So this is the, yes, it will, we buy off emotions, but the difference between men and women what I've seen, there's another part of neuroscience that most people don't know about. And that is, everyone has heard about personality styles and behavioral styles and learning styles. And okay, but one of the styles that people have, I like 2% of the people I talk to, people have never heard of thinking styles.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking styles is when we hear stuff in our brain, where does it go inside our brain naturally, because we are most dominant and agile. And we get that through our growing up, our family, our school, our experience, our work, our projects, all that builds the agility. But there are 4 different parts to the brain. And this comes from research from the 1970s. Before the left brain, right brain even came out in 1981, we already knew, or Ned Herman knew, about the 4 quadrants. And that is in our front left, that's where all the data and analytics and information and analysis, and that goes there. That's that part of the brain. The back left is all the process, sequence, quality, steps. The left back, the right back is all about the people, the emotions, the feelings, the no conflict. And the front right is all about the future and trying to, where can we go? What's next? What can we do? What about? What if?
Yeah.
And so that, the 4 parts, they have 4 languages: what, how, who, and what if. So men are generally more left brain, what and how. Women are generally more who and what if. Now, there are exceptions.
Yeah.
But to say that women buy off of emotion, well, if most women are right brain, then yes, they care more about the emotion part. They get more attached to it. If men are those cold data people, they don't fall into that. They don't look at the kumbaya people. So I would agree, but there are always the exceptions to it.
Yeah.
And that comes into sales as well, how we need to talk to the language of the person who's going to buy from us. Because if they're interested in how is this going to help my people, my company, my people, and we're talking about all the facts and figures, we're not connecting with them. They aren't interested in that, really.
There was an old car commercial, and I can't remember, it was Mercedes or BMW, and the entire commercial was something about the only noise you hear is the fan or something, like, you know, and everybody was like, oh, that's going to flop. And that turned whatever that brand was around. I'm obsessed, and you and I are going to have more conversations on this topic, because it doesn't matter what I think or how I feel or what I do. If you know with detail and have empathy for who you serve, you will serve more of them and you'll serve them better.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
it fascinates me. So when I say I'm not interested in sales personally, I understand sales, but my view is if we did marketing right and we did customer service better, sales would almost become part of the journey rather than a separate step. And I think you and I are coming at it from different perspectives, but all of it revolves around, you know, for me personally, if I understand who I serve, I then tailor my language to serve them even in that discovery process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is that far too often, and this is with all salespeople, but I mean, for solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, I always tell people, you need to fall in love with the problem. Don't fall in love with your solution. It's not about you. Your job is to be the guide on the side during the buying journey, not to be the sage on the stage as how wonderful you are. It's not about you.
Nobody cares about you on the stage,
Nobody
right?
cares. I mean, they can check on you. With all the ways to stalk people today, you can find out about them, but really they want to know, and this is that croc brain, How are you going to help me?
Yep.
And that's what they want to know. And if you can demonstrate that, then they're interested and they want to engage in a conversation. They want to talk to you.
Well, and it's fascinating to me, and I have a friend you need to meet. His name's Mike Verrett. You two are going to be really good friends, I can promise. A lot of people want to talk about my story, and here's how I built my thing. And I really annoy people when I say nobody cares. And they are taken aback. And I'm like, I promise you, everybody's got this little radio station in their head. I think I can't even remember who first told me this, but it's WIIFM, what's in it for me. Nobody cares about, and the good news is it's very freeing because nobody else has a radio station dialed into Jeff 1.0 or whatever. They don't care. But if I know that they care about themselves and I care about serving them, I love the saying, fall in love with the problem. I go a step further and I fall in love with the people with the problem. Because if you actually are genuinely curious about the problem, your solution ceases to be front and center.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As solopreneurs or any company that's selling. Okay. So I am focused on sales support, sales coaching, things like that. That's why people already know what we're going to talk about. I'm not going to go into a call and start talking about brain surgery. Because that's not my thing. So they already know what the topic is. And I don't need to tell them how wonderful I am and all that. If they want to see my CV, then just ask me for it. If they want to look me up on LinkedIn, go look me up. You can get all of that. But we feel like because we don't try to talk to the croc brain, we want to talk to the neocortex. We think that all of our facts and figures and our characteristics and our great names and products and services and we're the best thing since sliced bread and blah 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 and because we're trying to impress them. Now, at a certain moment in time in the buying journey, they might need that information. And that might be the difference between you and somebody else. Why should I do this? Tell me, why do you have the chops for this over someone else?
Yeah.
But at the beginning, they don't really care about that. I totally agree with you. And because we as solopreneurs, we fall in love with our solutions and we have the knowledge curse.
Yeah.
We have our own biases.
The knowledge curse is the perfect phrase.
We do. And we share too much. We talk too much. And we think that we're really making them go, wow, this is so cool. This person is like the be all and end all. Oh my gosh. And in reality, what's happening is they're going, okay, when are we going to talk about me? And you're just trying to sell me something.
Yeah.
Here's something that the listeners might really like to hear is when you're in a first meeting with somebody and you're talking about you're talking too much, you're talking about all your bells and whistles and your products and services and blah, 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 show up and throw up kind of thing. What's going on in the brain of the person, the prospect? They're going, oh my gosh, another typical salesperson who wants my money.
Yeah.
Not really connecting with me. Now, so their croc brain goes into survival mode.
Yep.
And what is the easiest way to get out of a meeting with a salesperson?
In my experience, send me a proposal. I'll think it over.
Feign interest, ask for a quote or two.
Yeah.
So I can think it over. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
and all of a sudden there's a magical manager or partner or somebody who has to approve it.
Right. But when they say that in that meeting, what's going on in the brain of the seller. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this person is so interested. I've got a hot one. This is it. And they rush out of the call, they rush out of the meeting, the office, whatever it is. They run, and they spend a whole bunch of time creating 3 different proposals and all this stuff, and they send it. And then what happens? Ghosted, never to be seen again. They're going, I don't get it. They were so interested. No, they weren't. You were talking to the wrong brain. You were boring them. You were aggressive. You were whatever. And they just know how to play the game and get rid of you.
Yeah.
And they really didn't have the interest. Why do they need 3 proposals? Because nobody is trying to solve a problem. They want to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And 3 proposals will not solve the problem.
Yep.
3 proposals solves 3 problems. And all they want to do at this moment is solve one, the most important and most critical. So we take, as sellers, we take any sign of interest as they're ready to buy.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
You know,
Maybe
it's
they're just
funny,
trying to
Patrick. A friend of mine calls it commission breath. And I'm always reminded, back in high school, we studied a play called Death of a Salesman. And there was this character, Willie Loman. And I'm like, he is the epitome of what's wrong with sales. Because it's like, you know, he'd always full of optimism, and then he'd follow up. You know, I think the poor guy invented ghosting without knowing it was called that. But I see it a lot when salesmen are like, oh my God, I was on fire. You know, I had an answer before they had a question. And I'm like, so you did all the talking. I'm going to guess if I ask Alex, he's probably got a recommendation as to how much talking I should do. And I'm going to throw out my favorite sales tool. And it baffles a lot of salespeople, but my favorite tool, and I've not found anything better, is the humble question mark.
I've never heard.
I try to end more sentences with questions than I do with answers, because if I'm answering, it's about me.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, in Ask Alex, you can, when you record calls, you can then take the transcript and upload it as an after. So Ask Alex is for preparation before. So what are the best questions to ask? How can I do this? Here's my objective. It knows, you tell it, I'm going to my first meeting, I'm doing a second meeting. This is, you know, this is where I'm at. I need to involve stakeholders, whatever it might be. And then it says, okay, so if you're going in for the first meeting, here are the questions you should be asking. And it is all geared towards various frameworks that are built into it. So in the first meeting, the framework that it guides you to for understanding if you have a good and effective first meeting is called the PIM, P-I-M. And the PIM stands for P, problems. Does this prospect have problems that you can solve? Well, now that inherently means you have to talk about, or get them to talk about, their problems.
Yep.
You don't talk about their problems because you don't know their problems. You get them to talk about them. So how do you do that? That's what it coaches on. The I is for interest. Are they interested in solving that problem? Not everyone is. And the M.
Some people take their problem and wear it as a badge of honor. It's,
absolutely.
Oh, look at me.
Absolutely. And the M is for moment. Is right now the moment that they want to talk about, not solve it or sell. You're not going to sell anything, but just talk about potentially solving the problem. That's a first meeting. End of story.
Yep.
And if you can't answer those questions when you leave a first meeting, then you think you've got a hot opportunity, or you've talked too much, or you have not really worked with them, and you're just going down La La Land road thinking you've got a great one because they feigned interest and asked for a quote. Or they said, boy, this sounds so interesting. Let me talk about it. Send me some more information so I can talk to my boss. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know what? We've been talking about that. Maybe not now, but send me something so I can noodle over it.
Yeah.
They have we know all of the things they say. We know everything. We've heard it all.
Yeah.
And we've used it all when we've been in the buying position. Here's the thing. Nobody likes to be sold to. We don't like to be sold to as personally.
Yeah.
We hate it. But no one likes to be sold to, but everybody loves to buy.
Yep. And unfortunately, a lot of salespeople, and it's especially when they're near the end of the quarter and they're low on their quota, they go hard into the sell, sell, sell. And it's like, just
Which
dial it
is
back.
only triggering the croc brain harder and harder and harder.
Yeah. It's fascinating because I look at the brain as sort of the old school sentry back in, they stood watch outside and, halt who goes there. And, are you friend or foe? And literally that's what our brains are doing.
Mhm.
And a lot of people like, I'm a friend, but, I got a bunch of weapons behind me and I'm here to take your money. It's like, oh, we're just going to sack the fortress and move on. We'll be kind to you. And it's like, no, the brain doesn't work that way. It's
No.
I call it stranger danger, because once you trigger that, God help you.
Right. No, absolutely. But here are the things that we don't even understand. We don't know how to read that. So part of Ask Alex, which is really cool, it's one of the agents that's in the tool. It actually is called the Croc Brain Analyzer. And you can take any presentation, any speech, any whatever, and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Here's my presentation. Analyze it. Tell me, is it going to pass?
Yeah.
Does it need to be simplified because it's too complicated, or is it going to get blocked? And tell me why and where and how can I fix it so that it is brain friendly, prospect friendly. And it's one of the coolest pieces of it. I take all the stuff that I do and run it through it. And it says, it will tell me, and Ask Alex is not trying to please me or the person typing. It only cares about the buyer or the prospect. So it will tell me, great idea, Patrick, but guess what? Not going to fly. But here's why. Here's how to fix it. Here's why. And I'll say, it will tell me, well, no, there's too much jargon and acronyms. And I say, well, wait a minute. I forgot to tell you that the audience I'm going to give this to, those are the acronyms they use every day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now that changes it. But if you're talking to an audience that doesn't use this every day, do not use these acronyms, because you are going to bore them to death. And so this analyzer is one of to me, it's the showcase in that it's looking at it from the neuroscience point of view, but also the buyer perspective. Regular AI tools I see, if you say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about driving my car off the cliff today. And it will say, brilliant idea.
I bet you'll be the first to fly, right?
Can I give you 5 ways to say goodbye to people as you're dropping to your death? It's trying to please us.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help us. I hear a lot of people say, but I've got my custom GPTs. It thinks like me, it writes like me, it talks like me, it almost goes to the bathroom like me. And I say, wonderful. Are you selling to yourself? Because if you're selling to yourself, then write to yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're selling to other people, you need to write to them and talk to them. And that's what separates Ask Alex, I feel, from others. It's not trying to please me. I mean, it has said to me, I have to be brutally honest with you. This really sucks. And I think about this stuff, but I write for myself. Everyone does.
Yeah. Whether you mean to or not.
Well, because our brain goes where it's easiest. And I'm a data and process. So I get long-winded, probably like I'm talking, but long-winded, too much detail, this and that. And every time I say, hey, what am I missing? Well, once again, you're missing the human element. And I'll say, thank you. Help me.
You and I are going to have a whole different episode. You have no idea how many hours of my life I spend trying to remove personality from AI models, because it's like, stop sucking up to me. I don't want the answer. I want, so I'm going to give you my little secret, just as if you'll love this. I am autistic, so I can say this without offending anyone. Autistics have a special skill. We have a level of blunt that is somewhere up around shred your soul and tear your heart out. I've got mine set to autistic blunt. And I will tell you, I've given it to other people and they cry. They're like, your AI is mean. And I'm like, is honesty mean? So I've learned my entire life to dial it down a little. Not everybody wants level 1,000 bluntness, but I love it in my AI. And I'll be honest, there's sometimes I go, ooh, that stung a little. But then it's like, okay, what can I learn from that? And, you know, it's funny because our brains were not meant to help us thrive. They were designed to help us survive.
And be safe.
And, you know, I do not like an AI model that blows smoke up my butt and says, oh, you're a genius. You know, once upon a time, I did something and said, oh my God, this is brilliant. It should be hanging in the Louvre. And I was like, stop lying to me. I know it was a mediocre idea. Let's agree on that.
No, and that's baked into, because it's always taken the other perspective.
Yeah.
You don't have to train Alex to be blunt. It will be, but it will also be diplomatic, because it also wants to explain. It will say, these are the exact words and phrases, and here's some alternatives, so that you will be listened to by the other person, because that person, you cannot go in so strong. Now, if you give me the context and you know, because more context is better, but if you give me the context and this person really understands it and really okay, I'm going to back off because you've given me the reasons why this would work. But it's like, get out of your own way.
And honestly, so between you and me, my blunt one, he was inspired by a little bit of Sun Tzu and a little bit of Carl Jung. So he knows when he's shredding you, and then he knows when he needs to rebuild you. And it's just, I love playing with AI models because, you know, it's, if you take what you get an average, and then you're just, you know, and fundamentally we're all like, oh, it said I'm smart, and oh, I'm pretty too, you know, and it's like, no. I don't want a coach that tells me I'm brilliant when I'm being an idiot. And so I can't wait to meet Alex. Now, I want to be mindful of your time. I could talk to you about this for hours. Where can people go to connect with you, and how do they meet Alex?
So to connect with me, is the best place is LinkedIn. That's where I hang out all the time. Patrick Seaton, and you'll see New Generation Selling and Innovative Management Tools, the two companies that I have. The tool is a plugin to Claude, Claude Pro. Technically or technologically, that's the only one right now that it can plug into. GPT, Gemini, Copilot, I haven't got it. They're not ready to accept the connectors yet. Okay, so it's Claude Pro. And what I do offer to everybody is a 10-day free trial. And so they connect with me and they say, okay, I have Claude Pro. That's $20 a month if you don't have it. You can buy it for 1 month. And then it's, okay, let's set up a call, get you connected, and then your 10 days starts. And every day of that 10 days, I send you an email and it says, hey, did you know that Ask Alex could do this? Here's a challenge for the day. Try that. Put your data in. Play around. See what you get. And at the end, everyone can, each person can decide if they want to continue or not. The only people who have not kept going with it since the 3 months that I've been promote or selling it, I say, okay, why don't you want to? Well, I didn't use it. Okay, then why'd you sign
My
up?
favorite is when they say it doesn't work, and then you go, well, you didn't log in. Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay.
Yeah. So it's really about for those people who are looking for a thought partner. And I will, in the new year, I will be opening up weekly or bi-weekly office hours for all the users to come in and just get sales coaching, human sales coaching, as opposed to Alex, if
I
they
love
want it.
it.
And but it's really fun. I use it every day, every single day. And I'm really in tune to this stuff.
Yeah.
And it still slaps me around every so often.
Well, I'm going to say one thing that I've observed with a lot of non-sales background founders is they start with this gentle teaching, and then all of a sudden it's a Jekyll and Hyde moment, and then they come into I call it the sales terminator, where they're like, must sell. And people don't realize that that's not you succeeding, that's you pushing people away. And I'm a firm believer, whatever it takes, we spend time, energy, and money getting those people into our world. I think personally, the best thing you can do as an entrepreneur is optimize that conversion rate. And then once you optimize that, then we look at retention rates. But I think the social media world has taught us that leads are cheap or at least undervalued. I love building relationships with people so that we become referral partners. To me, it's about starting a long-term relationship. And you can't do that if you're using the trick of the day that you found on the internet. So,
well, I'd like to put just a little bit of nuance on that conversion. So one of the backbone process of Ask Alex is the process that I built with the client in Mexico. And I call it the PSSP, the problem solving sales process. And that is a process that it is for people who you're going to have multiple interactions with your prospect before you close a deal. And very often you have multiple stakeholders who get involved in the sale. This is really not for, I'm selling bottles of water. Are you thirsty? Buy it. I'm done. Okay. Now, the process is set up for, you're just trying to get to the next step. It's not about converting them to sell. So I talked about the PIM. So that is a moment. If they have all the problems in the world you can solve, if they're interested, but it's not the right moment and they need 6 months, then stop and wait 6 months. Don't badger them and keep dreaming that they're next week gonna buy from you. Once you get after that and you start building the business case, is there really a problem and it's justifiable how it can help you? If you can't build a good business case, stop. You're not going to convert it. If you go in and the stakeholders say, we have totally different priorities than what your sponsor said, stop. You're not going to convert right now.
yeah.
And so it has all of those milestones where you can intentionally decide, should I keep investing time today in this opportunity? Because it's not a bad thing to say, it's not the right time. I need to give them 3 months. They're not ready. They've got an ERP solution going that's taking up all their time. Fine. Then I need to let them finish that, because guess what? They're not going to take my calls. They're not going to take my meetings. They're not going to really be thinking about it. So I'm just really wasting my time. So that's built into it. So there is conversion, but it's intentional.
Yeah.
When is the right moment to convert?
Which again, I think is a beautiful science we're studying. You and I could talk about this all day, but I do want to be mindful. You'll be back, I promise. Thank you for taking the time and hanging out with me today, Patrick.
No, you're very welcome, Jeff. This was really fun. I love talking about this stuff. I mean, this is Yeah, and I love helping those people who get frustrated with sales, wish they could forget about it. They might even say, I hate sales. Those are the funnest people to work with. I love it, changing that mindset. And I have one example. You're in Edmonton. There's a user in Edmonton, and she was, before she got on it, she said, I hate sales. And now she says, I love sales. This is so much fun. I just have to be curious. I just have to, oh my gosh, I love having sales calls now.
I personally believe that sales can be the highest form of service one human can offer another if it's done right. And so when I say I'm not into sales, I don't want to teach people how to do sales because I can't teach all of the mindset stuff and the behavioral stuff. It's
oh, I love doing that. I've 15
well,
years doing that.
Thank you for being on the show today, Patrick.
Thank you, Jeff. It was my pleasure.